Yes, sir. Sir, very happy afternoon to all. My dear lovable students, I believe that your preparations for the coming examination is going very well. You know, we are preparing for the first paper in group number 2, which is costing. Costing can be classified into, sir, 5 category or 5 slots. This is slot number A, which comprises of 3 chapters. Number 1 is cost sheet, cost accounting system and process costing. This is a 25 mark area for examination. From this 25 mark area, I have done the revision videos for you, which comprises of RTP and MTP discussion. And the second category, N category, after process costing, you are having joint product and byproduct. Please prepare joint product and byproduct. If you have not prepared the joint product and byproduct, sir, please go and see that video. That video itself is more than enough for you. Then you are having material and labor. This is a 20 mark area for examination, my dear lovable students. In this, we are pending with the labor part. We are going to finish the labor revision in this slot. Yes, fine. Very good questions are there in the labor, my dear lovable students. Employee cost and direct expenses. One RTP question is there. Sir, I'll be solving that RTP question. Basically, this is an MCQ. This may carry 2 mark in exam. Phalsa Limited pays its workers on time basis. Okay, time basis. Because their service cannot be tangibly measured. The company's normal working week include 5 days of 8 hours each. So, they are working for 5 days. Every day they are working for 8 hours. So, 8 into 5, 40 hours week it is. Sometimes the workers need to work late at night, which was 3 nights of 3 hours each. That means 3 hours into 3 comes to 9 hours will be the overtime for the current week. The average output produced per worker for the week is 120 units. In this week, they have manufactured, sir, 120 units. Information regarding incentive rate is as follows. Rate of payment, day shift 320 per hour and night shift 450 per hour. However, this time basis payment were made workers lazy, katayama. Because if you work in daytime, you will get only 320 per hour. And if you are working in night shift, you will be getting 450 per hour. So, it is boosting, indirectly boosting the employees to work in the night shift rather than the day shift. Then no one will be completing the work in the day shift. They will push the work to the night shift, right? Am I right? So making their expected output lower. As workers started doing more of night shift for higher earnings with a minimal impact on the output, company decided to shift onto a system of payment on output basis. Information regarding amended incentive rate is as follows. So because of this defect in the current, my dear lovable students, structure, they have changed the structure. Time rate as usual 320 per hour. If you are working for 1 hour, you will be getting 320. Basic time allowed for 15 units is 5 hours. Piece work rate add 15%, sir, to base piece rate. In the amended incentive scheme, normal worker weekly working hours remain the same, while production increased to 135 units. Wow. So what they want? Calculate the labor cost per unit as per the existing incentive scheme along with the amended incentive scheme. So basically there are 2 things are there. Number 1 is existing incentive scheme and amended incentive scheme. First of all, I am going to calculate for the existing incentive scheme. Tell me, my dear lovable students, in a week, how many days are there? 5 days are there. So in the existing incentive scheme, 5 days into every day the employee will work for 8 hours, right? So 5 into 8 comes to 40 hours will be the work for the entire week in the during daytime. Super, sir. My dear lovable students, 3 days employees will do overtime. Every day they will work 3 hours. So totally 9 hours overtime they will work. So surely overtime will be having overtime premium. So for this daytime 40 hours worked, employees will get day shift hour which comes to 320 rupees per hour. So 40 into 320 comes to 12,800 is what the total labor cost paid for the daytime work. Whereas 9 hours into, it includes both the basics and the overtime premium, which comes to 450 per hour. 450 is equal to 450 into 9, 4050. So the total labor cost is 12,800 plus 4050 comes to 16,850. By spending 16,850, my dear lovable students, you have produced how many unit? 120 units has been produced. 120 units has been produced. So 16,850 divided by 120 units. Divided by 120 units comes to 140.42 per unit is the effective labor hour. 140.42. Is there any option with 140.42? So option B cannot be the answer. Option C cannot be the answer. We eliminated. So the answer may be option A or option D. Getting it? Now, I want the second answer as the second part of the question, which they are saying, however, this time basis payment made workers lazy, making their expected output lower. As workers started doing more of night shift for higher earnings with minimal impact on the output, company decided to shift onto a system of payment on output basis. Information regarding amended incentive rate is as follows. Time rate as usual, we are ready to give you 320 per hour. And basic time allowed for 15 units is 5 hours. That means, sir, they are talking about the standard time. Standard time, sir, 5 hours is allowed for 15 units. That means standard time per unit is equal to, the standard time is equal to 5 hours divided by 15 units. Right, sir? So 5 divided by 15 comes to 0.33 hours, which can be converted into minutes also. Into 60 means it comes to 20 minutes. That means in order to manufacture 1 unit, sir, we need 20 minutes of time. 20 minutes of time. So my dear lovable students, this is the basic time allowed for 15 units. Piece work rate, add 15% to the basic piece rate. So basic piece rate order 15% will be the bonus. In the amended incentive scheme, normal weekly working hours remain the same, while the production increased to 135 units. Wow. That means the employees started working very efficiently. So 135 units now 135 units into 20 minutes will be the total standard time. So 135 into 20 minutes na, you need total 2700 minutes divided by 60 porting na, you will be getting 2700 divided by 60. You will be getting 45 hours is the standard time. For this 45 hours, the company is ready to pay 320 rupees per hour. So into 320. So 45 into 320 comes to 14,400. And since they are working superbly, company is ready to pay bonus at the rate of 15%. So at the rate of 15%. So 14,400 into 15% comes to 2160. So 14,400 plus 2160 comes to 16,560 is the total labor cost you have incurred for, sir, how many units, man? Actually, they have produced 135 unit. So divided by 135 units comes to 122.67 is the employee cost per unit. Is there any option with 122.67? Yes, option number A is a right answer, my dear lovable students. This is what 140.42 and 122.67, and answer is option number A. I hope that you are started enjoying the labor costing. If yes, my dear lovable students, inform me by way of your comments. Fantastic to the core. Comfortable? Easy? Shall I proceed to the second question, my dear lovable students? Yes, this is the second question. Good question. AeBee Publishers work for various educational institutions for editing, binding, printing of various books and magazines on job work basis. Currently, the company has employed 30 workers. Totally 30 workers are working. Hello, sir. And pays them on hour rate basis for each job assigned. To complete one of the process of the binding, the average time allowed to an employee is 8 hours for a 10-page magazine. Assume that one magazine is equal to 1 unit. Sir, in order to manufacture 1 unit of finished goods, they need 8 hours, my dear lovable students. In the month of March, 2 employees C and D were given 21 and 30 units of magazine respectively. We all understood that for one magazine, the standard time allowed is 8 hours. So 8 into 21 will be the time allowed respectively for the binding work. Following are the details of the work assigned. Work assigned for C is 21 unit and D is 30 unit. This is the time taken 78 hours and 114 hours. Fantastic, sir. The existing rate of wages is 60 per hour along with the bonus as per Halsey system. Now, the company is following Halsey system. As per Halsey system, we all know that 50% will be shared with the employee and 50% will be enjoyed by the employer. Fine. So, the rate is 60 per hour. However, a new wage rate has been signed between the employees and company where employee will be paid 65 per hour with effect from the April month. Sir, we are talking about which month? March month. But for the next month onwards, my dear lovable students, they are having a new wage system. Instead of 60 per hour, they are going to pay 65 per hour. That is 5 rupees extra. But inadvertently, for the month of March, accountant of the company paid the wages to these employees considering the rate of 65 per hour. Oh my God. Instead of paying at 60 per hour, the employee has paid, my dear lovable students, sir, 65 per hour. The management has done a wrong decision. That means 5 rupees per hour they paid, sir, wrong. You are required to calculate the following. Amount of loss that the company has to incur due to incorrect rate selection in the month of March. How much rupees you lost? That means 5 rupees per hour would have lost. Loss incurred by company due to incorrect rate selection if it has followed Rowan system of bonus payment. Instead of Halsey, if you have followed Rowan, what will be the loss the company would have what? Incurred. Amount that could have been saved if Rowan scheme of bonus payment were followed. Instead of Halsey, if the company has followed Rowan, my dear lovable students, what should be the savings is what the question. One of the good question, my dear lovable students. I will tell you, man. In employee cost, sir, employee means what, man? Human resources, right, sir? That's why we are having two systems called as Halsey and Rowan. Halsey and Rowan, right? Halsey and Rowan. Fine, sir. Whether you take Halsey or Rowan, they are part of human beings, right? HR, human. So, what this Halsey is saying that how you have to make the payment to an employee once he complete his work. Once an Halsey complete his work, my dear lovable students, what Halsey is saying that actual hours worked into rate per hour. That is, எவ்வளோ மணி நேரம் வேலை செஞ்சிருக்காங்களோ ஒரு மணி நேரத்துக்கு எவ்வளோ சம்பளமோ அதை கொடுத்துருங்க. Plus, if the employees are so effective, there is always a concept called as standard hours. Sir, in the standard hours விட actual hours கம்மியா இருந்தா you will be having time saved. Then employer would have saved some money, right, sir? So for this time saved, calculate the rate per hour. Then you will get how much amount have been saved by the employer. On that, share 50% with the employee and balance 50% you itself keep. This is what the Halsey system is all about. That means பாதி பாதி. That's why sir Halsey is half. ஏன்னா எச்சில் ஆரம்பிக்கிறவரோட பேரு அதனால பாதி பாதின்னு சொல்றாரு. But what Rowan is saying that, my dear lovable students, what an anidi the Halsey, because what this Rowan is saying to Halsey that for the actual hours worked into rate per hour, I don't have any problem. But 50% sharing of bonus to the employee is not at all acceptable. Anyayama irukku. Because sometimes time taken divided by time, sir, allowed. Time taken divided by time allowed. For example, I have taken 8 hours instead of, sir, allowed time is 10 hours. I am having an efficiency of 80%. For an efficient person also getting 50% bonus. For an inefficient person also getting 50% bonus means this is not at all acceptable. So Rowan said that, no. It should not be 50-50 sharing. It should be time taken divided by time allowed. So time taken divided by time allowed. Into, my dear lovable students, what is the time saved? Because time save 50-50 apirikkaradhukku badala efficiency rate la piringa into rate per hour should be the bonus. This is what the Rowans said. Everyone asked the Rowan that, hey Rowan, why are you saying like this? Because my name is starting with R. R means ratio. That's why TT divided by TA. I want to split the bonus based upon the ratio, which is time taken divided by time allowed. Are you all really with me what I am talking to you? Fantastic to the core. Yeah. That's why time taken divided by time allowed. So half na half, Rowan na ratio. I should know the efficiency of the employee, which is nothing but time taken divided by time allowed. Now, what they are asking is, what is the amount of loss the company has incurred due to incorrect rate selection in the month of March? Fine. So, how many employees are there? 2 employees are there, my dear lovable students. The first employee, employee 1 and employee 2. First of all, how much number of magazines they gave for work is a question. So, the work assigned is 21 units and 30 units. So 21 units and 30 units. Right, sir. In that 21 units and 30 units, my dear lovable students, sir, what is the standard hour per magazine? Standard hour per unit. The time allowed is 8 hours for every magazine. So 8 hours and 8 hours. So the total standard hour for the first employee is 21 into 8 comes to 168 hours. He should complete his job within 168 hours. Whereas 30 into 8 comes to 240 hours. That means the second employee should complete the job within 240 hours. Less the time taken. What is the time taken? 78 hours. Wow, what a difference. And 114 hours. Wow, that means lot of time saved are there, right, sir? So instead of completing the job within 168 hours, if we complete within 78 hours, there is a difference of 90 hours. So 90 hours time is saved. Here 240 hours la mudikka vendiya velaiye 114 hours if they complete means 126 hours is the time saved, my dear lovable students. Now you look at it. Now the company is following Halsey or Rowan. The company is following now Halsey. Halsey classified into how many category? 2 category. Number 1 basics and number 2 is bonus. Right, sir? Basics is nothing but actual hours worked into rate per hour. Sir, really they worked for time taken is 78 hours. So for every hour 78 hours into what is the rate per hour? The rate per hour. Have they given for every 1 hour we are paying this much? 60 per hour is what the rate per hour. Actually, they should have paid in 60 per hour. But they have paid 65 per hour. So 5 rupees extra they have paid. So 5 rupees per hour is the extra they paid. So 78 into 5 comes to 390 rupees they lost because of they paid extra 5 rupees. Getting it? Now coming to the bonus, as per Halsey, whatever time saved into rate per hour into 50-50 is the ratio. What is the time saved, man? 90 hours is the time saved. For that, actually 60 rupees should have been paid. But the accountant Tungite 65 has been paid. So the rate per hour is, sir, 5 loss into 50% will be the extra loss. So 90 into 5 into 50% come to, I lost 225 rupees because of the extra payment. That means 390 plus 225 comes to 615 I lost because of payment instead of 60 since I paid 65. This is the first part of the question. What is the amount of loss that the company has incurred due to incorrect rate selection in the month of March? Because of that, sir, look at here, man. calculation of loss incurred due to incorrect rate selection. For the first employee, it is 615 is the total. The same way we are supposed to calculate for the second employee. This is employee number 2. Shall we calculate? Employee number 2. For employee number 2 also, sir, Phalsa is classifying into 2 categories, right, sir? What Phalsa is saying that to that employee, you should pay both basic and also the bonus, right, sir? To the basic, my dear lovable students, actual hours worked into rate per hour. What is the second employee really actually time taken? 114. So 114 into 5 rupees is what extra you have taken. So 114 into 5 comes to 570 rupees you have extra paid. Alright. With regard to the bonus, time saved into rate per hour into 50-50 is a deal. Right, sir? What is the time saved by the second employee? Time saved is 126 hours. So 126 into rate extra rate per hour is 5 into 50%. So 126 into 5, 630 into 50% comes to 315. Fantastic to the core. So my dear lovable students, sir, 315 plus 570 comes to 885 is the loss you have incurred because of paying that extra 5 rupees to that worker. So basically, total loss is equal to the first part 615 plus 885. 615 plus 885 comes to 1500. Fantastic to the core. I hope that you are able to appreciate the first part of the question, that is amount of loss that the company can incur due to incorrect rate selection in the month of March. Comfortable? Coming to the second part of the question, what is the loss incurred by the company due to incorrect rate selection if it had followed Rowan scheme of bonus payment? Oh my God. So instead of, sir, Phalsa, if the company has chosen Rowan, what would be the position they are asking? If it is Rowan or Phalsa, basic will not change. Because basic will be same only. Because basic for both of them is actual hours worked into rate per hour. Only the sharing of bonus change. So employee number 1, classified into 2 category. I am doing under Rowan, not under Phalsa. So basic and what? Number 2 is bonus. With regard to basic, my dear lovable students, actual hours worked into rate per hour. Tell me, what is the actual hours worked by the second employee? Hours time taken is 114. There is no change actually. First employee, first we will find out. 78 and 114. So 78 into extra 5 rupees. Correct? There won't be any change. So 78 into 5 comes to 390 rupees is what the, my dear lovable students, extra loss. The same 390 only here also we got for the employee number 1 in Phalsa. Fine. But surely the bonus will change. What the Rowan is saying that time taken divided by time allowed into time saved into rate per hour. What is the time taken by the first employee, my dear lovable students? I am using the ICAI table. The same thing only there I have written, but fine. Time taken is 78. So 78 hours they have taken. Divided by what is the time allowed? Time allowed is 168 hours into what is the time saved? Time saved by the first employee is 90 hours into 90. Into what is the extra payment you made? 5 rupees. So 78 divided by 168. So it shows a efficiency of 46%. Into 90 into 5 comes to 209 is a loss for the second payment. This is 208.93. I round off to 209. If you want, you can keep it as 208.93. Even calculator also showing the same amount only. 208.93 if you want to get the exact. So the total loss for the first employee will be 208.93 plus 390 comes to 598.92. My dear lovable students, I believe that you are able to appreciate or understand under the Rowan. Now for employee number 2, what is the payment for Rowan is what the discussion is all about. So for employee number 2 under the Rowan, we have to classify the payment into 2 categories. One is basic and other is bonus. Fantastic to the core. Basic same, actual hours worked into rate per hour. You tell me what is the actual hours worked. I'm using this for the second employee. Time taken is 114. So 114 into extra, I made a payment of 5 rupees. Sir, 114 into 5 comes to 570. This difference will be same both as per Halsey and also as per the Rowan. But with regard to the bonus component, time taken divided by time allowed into time saved into rate per hour, right sir? What is the time taken by the second employee? Look at it and say 114 is the time taken divided by what is the time allowed? 240 is the time allowed into what is the time saved by the second employee? 126 is the time saved into 5 rupees extra you have made. So 114 divided by 240 into 126 into 5 comes to 299.25 is the loss, sir, you would have incurred if you would have traveled through the Rowan. That means, my dear lovable students, sir, 570 plus 299.25 comes to 869.25 is the total loss to the company. That means, if you are traveling through Halsey, total loss will be 1500. If you would have traveled through Rowan, you would have lost only 865.25. So 1500 minus 865.25 comes to company could have saved 630.75. That's what the third part of this, sir. This is 1468.18. Sir, this is only for employee number 2. Correct. Employee number 2. And employee number 1 also you should add 598.92, 598.92. So 869.25 plus 598.92 comes to, sir, 1468.12 is the total amount you are supposed to pay. But this is also, I think, total only I have taken. Yes, 1500 only. So 1500 means minus, I should reduce both the employees' cost. That is 1468.12. Minus 1500 comes to 31.813 will be the net savings, my dear lovable students. So the net savings will be 31.82. Brilliant. Very good question. I believe that you are enjoying the discussion of the labor costing. 2 questions we have done. By these questions, we are able to enjoy the discussion of the labor costing. If yes, my dear lovable students, sir, inform your happiness by way of comments, and also, sir, show your confidence by liking the video. Fantastic to the course, sir. Moving into the next question, which is another 2-mark area for exam. Yes. Very simple 2-mark question. We will quickly knock off. This question is from, sir, labor turnover ratio. Another hit area for examination is labor turnover ratio. There are 3 methods are there: separation method, replacement method, and flux method. I will tell you separation method, very simple, sir. Number of separations divided by average labor force into 100. Average workforce into 100. Replacement method, number of replacement divided by average labor force into 100. Fantastic to the core, sir. Fantastic to the core. Flux method, which is nothing but number of separations plus number of replacement divided by average workforce into 100, or number of separations plus number of accessions divided by average workforce into 100. 2 approaches are there for the flux method. Comfortable? What does it mean? What is this topic is all about? A very quick recap. My dear lovable students, labor turnover ratio means we are going to analyze the movement of the laborers. Movement. What is the movement of the laborers? Movement of the laborers means how many people are going out. Going out. That is outflow of the laborers. This is taken care by the separation method. This is taken care by the separation method. Once the laborers goes out, they will be replaced. That means, sir, coming in. How many laborers have came inside the organization? This is nothing but inflow of the laborers. This is done by replacement method. This is done by replacement method. In order to understand the movement of the laborers, if I am seeing only going out, then separation method. Only coming in, then replacement method. Sir, once laborers are coming in, people who have replaced will also come. Also new admissions will also come. No. That is called as, sir, flux method with two varieties. Sir, separation plus replacement divided by average labor force into 100. That means out plus in divided by average into 100. Or I can have a different stand. Out plus, sir, accessions. Accessions in the sense means come in because of the replacement and also new job opportunities divided by average labor force into 100. Comfortable? Now with this background, I'm going into the question. The rate of change in the composition of employee force over the average number of employees for the year is computed as 9% under separation method. However, the same rate is computed as 15% and 30% under the replacement method and flex method respectively. So my dear lovable students, number one, separation method, replacement method, flux method. Tell me, what about the separation method? The separation method rate is equal to 9%. So 9% of the total labor force has gone out. That means if 100 employees are their average employees, 9 people gone out during the year. But 15% is a replacement. So, but 15%, 15 people has been replaced. That means 9% would have been, sir, come in, right? 9% would have gone out, 15% would have come in. And the flux method is 30%, man, 30%, which is both inflow and outflow. Consider the average number of employees on roll during the year is 200. They themselves said that average labor force is equal to 200. Okay, fine. Find out the number of employees. Oh, what is the number of employees for everything? Replaced. First they want is replaced. Left and discharged. That means, sir, separation. And recruited and joined. That means, sir, how many people have come inside? Shall I move with the replaced first? For that I will use the replacement method. So basically what they are saying is 15 is equal to number of replacement divided by 200 they are saying. So if I cross multiply 200 into 15% come to replacement you will get. So 200 into 15% comes to 30 employees has been replaced. Correct? So the first one is replaced. Replacement, you are having 30 employees for option this and replacement 30 employees for this option. So this should not be the option and also this should not be the option, right? So if I find out one more figure, I think I can finalize the answer. Left and discharged are 42 and also, sir, recruit and joined are 18. Recruit and joined. Okay. Left and discharged means what? Separation. So separation shall we find out? So 9 is equal to separation divided by 200. So cross multiply. Separation is equal to 200 into 9%. Right, sir? So 200 into 9% come to 18 employees is what? Left and discharged. So is there in left and discharged 18 employees? Anyway, this is 42. So that has been removed. So option should be C should be the option. I believe that you also able to enjoy. We got 30 and 18. Other I have not find out at all. Automatically, since two factors are matching for me, I finalize that since this is MCQ. If you want, you can finalize with the flux method also. No problem for me. That's it, my dear lovable students. We have done with one more, sir, question of MCQ. Are you enjoying the labor? Able to revise it very properly, my dear lovable students? If yes, inform me by way of your comments. And if you are feeling confident, like the video, my dear lovable students. Part number C is the discussion. Management of the company want to formulate an incentive plan. So they want to formulate an incentive plan for the workers with a view to increase productivity. Because if you are giving per hour basis, they will just come at 10 o'clock morning, leave by 5 or 6 o'clock. So okay, number of hours worked is 8 hours. Give me 160 per hour or 200 per hour. That will really be a loss to the company, right? Following particulars has been extracted from the books of the company. Piece wage rate is 10. If you manufacture 1 unit of output, you will get 10 rupees. Weekly working hours is 40 hours are there. Hourly wage rate is rupees 40 guaranteed. So you will surely get 40 rupees guaranteed if you are working for 1 hour. Standard or normal time per unit, in order to manufacture one pen, you need 15 minutes. This is the actual output for a week. Worker A has manufactured 176 pieces. Worker B has manufactured 140 pieces. Under Halsey scheme, worker get a bonus equal to 50% of the wage of time saved. Normal, Halsey half. Calculate earnings of worker under Halsey and Rowan premium scheme is what the question. So you have to calculate the Halsey and Rowan. Very easy question, straightforward 4-mark question, nothing is there. So I am calculating for the worker, so the first worker, worker A. For that, I have to calculate both under Halsey and Rowan. I will classify the Halsey into 2 categories, which is nothing but basic, and number 2 is bonus. Basics, my dear lovable students, actual hours worked into rate per hour, right sir? Have they given any actual hours worked? Weekly working hours is 40 and all they said, but workers hourly wage rate is 40 guaranteed also they said. 160 pieces they have manufactured, right? So 176 into, sir, if you are spending 15 minutes means 2640 minutes. Divided by 60 means, so 176 into 15 divided by 60 means 44 hours, sir, is the real standard time. That means a person who's having only 44 hours can manufacture this. FD sir, romba simple sir, 176 pieces they have manufactured. Every piece will take 15 minutes. So 176 into 15 divided by 60 minutes means standard time is equal to 44 hours. Sir, in this world, let whoever be there, only person, sir, with 44 hours can manufacture this. But my dear lovable students, the weekly working hours is only what? 40. Only what? 40. So, 40 hours only they worked. So, 40 hours into what is the guaranteed rate per hour? 40 rupees is a guaranteed rate per hour, right? So, 40 into 40 comes to 1600 is the basic wages, and this will be same both under the Halsey and also under the Rowan. Now coming to bonus man, which is nothing but time saved into right per hour into, sir, 50%. What is the time saved? Standard is 44 hours, but the actual is only 40 hours. So that is a time saved. 4 hours is a time saved. So 4 hours into rate per hour is 40 into 50%. So 4 into 40 into 50% means 80 rupees will be the bonus as per the Halsey. So 1680 will be the earnings of the first employee under the Halsey. Brilliant sir, fantastic sir. Under the same Halsey for E2 I am going to calculate. We all know that Halsey classified into 2 categories, my dear lovable students. Number 1 is basic and number 2 is bonus. With regard to basics, man, actual hours worked into rate per hour, right sir? What is the actual hours worked? The really they worked for 40 hours. Into rate per hour is 40 for the, sir, Rowan. This is not as per Halsey, sorry. This is as per Rowan. For the Rowan. So 1600 rupees is the basic for worker number 1 as per Rowan. Enjoying? With regard to bonus man, time taken divided by time allowed into time saved into rate per hour. What is the time taken? 40 hours. What is the time allowed? 44 hours. What is the time saved? 4 hours. What is the rate per hour? 40. Getting it? That means 40 divided by 44 into 4 into 40 comes to 145 rupees will be the savings to the worker as per the Rowan. So 1600 plus 145 comes to 1745 will be the earnings of this guy, worker A, 1745 as per the Rowan. Fantastic sir. I completed both the employees under the Halsey and Rowan. For first employee under the Halsey and Rowan. Now moving to employee number 2. Fantastic. Now I am going to calculate for that employee as per Halsey. Halsey, which is nothing but basic and what? Bonus. Basic for the second employee, I have to scrutinize his case. Actually, he has manufactured 140 pieces. So 140 into time allowed is 15 minutes divided by 60, right sir? So 140 into 15 means totally 2100 minutes are allowed. Divided by 60 means 35 hours only he is supposed to take. 35 hours is the standard time. But he has taken, sir, 40 hours. Sir, 40 hours is the weekly working hours. Oh my God. That means instead of complete the job within 35 hours, he took 40 hours. So for that basic 35 hours into basic wage rate of 40 hour, so 35 into 40, but here basic will not be based on the standard hours. Basic will be based on the actual hours. So actual hours worked into, sir, rate per hour. Actually has worked for 40 hours. Into rate per hour is what? 40. Alright, sir. So 1600 will be the basic. Sir, is there any time saving? Since time saving is equal to 0, so the bonus as per the Halsey should be equal to 0, and even as per the Rowan should also be 0. So the total employee cost for the second employee under the Sir Halsey should be 1600. No bonus will be available. Getting it? Are you enjoying? For the second worker also, under the employee number 2, sir, under the Rowan also, bonus system will be what? 0, because there is no time saved. And he has worked for 40 hours at the rate of rupees 40. 1600 will be the basics, my dear lovable students. So 1600 under the Rowan, and the earnings will be 1600. There is no bonus for him. This is a 4-mark question asked in examination. This is there in the RTP and MTP. I believe that you are able to appreciate or understand what I am talking to you, getting a good flow over Sir Rowan and Halsey. 4-mark we have done. If yes, sir, show your happiness by way of your comments, then I will come to know how much it is useful for you to solve all this. I'm moving into the last question, I think. Last question, C question, which is there in the MTP. That's it. One last question. We will complete this discussion. Shiv is working by employing 10 skilled workers. So there are 10 people are there. Fine. It is considering the introduction of some incentive plan, either Halsey scheme with 50% bonus or Rowan scheme of wage payment for increasing the labor productivity to cope up with the increased demand of the product by 25%. That means now there is a good demand in the market. So we are supposed to produce more number of units. For that, only one option available is we have to motivate the employees. She feels that if the proposed incentive scheme could bring about an average of 20% increase over the present earnings of the worker, it would act as a sufficient incentive for them to produce more, and she has accordingly given his assurance to the workers. For example, if employee is currently getting, sir, 100 rupees, my dear lovable students, if he is able to get 120 rupees, that is 20 rupees extra itself, then itself is a huge boost to the employees. As a result of this assurance, the increase in productivity has been observed as revealed by following figures for the current month. Hourly rate of wages guaranteed is 2 rupees. For example, now if you are working for 1 hour, you will get 2 rupees, my dear lovable students. Average time for producing one piece by one worker at the previous performance, this may be taken as time allowed also, 2 hours. In order to manufacture one finished goods, 2 hours is the allowed time. Number of working days in a month is 25 days after excluding 5 days, Saturday, Sunday and all. Number of working hours per day for each worker is 8. Actual production during the month is 1250 units required. Calculate effective rate of earnings per hour under the Halsey scheme and Rowan scheme. This is a 4-mark question. Anyayam. For 4 mark, you have to calculate as per Halsey, Rowan and effective wage rate. Fine. Calculate the savings of Navya in terms of direct labor costs per piece under the above schemes. What are the savings you are having? Advise Navya about the selection of scheme to fulfill her assurance is what the question is all about, my dear lovable students. Fantastic to the core. So what they are saying, now currently 10 skilled workers are there in a factory. By putting all the 10 workers, this is what the story, hourly wage rate guaranteed is 2 per hour. Correct? Sir, in a month, in every day, for every worker, 8 hours is there. So 8 hours into how many days in a month? 25 days are there. So for one worker, 8 into 25 comes to 200 hours are available. Like that, 10 workers are there. So 200 into 10 comes to 2000 hours is what they are working, my dear lovable students. Sir, 2000 hours is the total hours available. In that, actually they manufacture 1250 units. Actually, to manufacture 1250 units, every hour will take 2 hours standard time. So 1250 into 2 comes to 2500 hours you need. But you don't have 2500 hours, you are having only 2000 hours. So 2500 hours produce பண்ண வேண்டிய விஷயத்தை 2000 hours produce பண்ணிருக்கேனா, surely sir, standard time is equal to 2500 hours. Whereas time taken is equal to 2000 hours. So time saved is equal to 500 hours, my dear lovable students. With this background, time saved of 500 hours, I am proceeding to the question. I am proceeding to the answer. Sir, production during the month is 1050 units. Actual output is 1050 units. ஒரு யூனிட்டுக்கு ஸ்டாண்டர்ட் டைம் 2 ஹவர்ஸ்னா 2500 ஹார்ஸ் இல்லாமல் இது நம்மளால ப்ரொடியூஸ் பண்ண முடியாது. பட் டைம் ஆக்சுவலி டேக்கன் சார் ஒரு நாளைக்கு 8 ஹார்ஸ், அப்படி 25 டேஸ், அப்படி 10 ஒர்க்கர்ஸ்னா டோட்டலி 2000 ஹார்ஸ் only they have taken. That means, my dear lovable students, time saved is 500 hours. 500 hours they have saved. Labor cost per piece under time rate system is, sir, ஒரு பீஸுக்கும் சார் ஒரு யூனிட் ப்ரொடியூஸ் பண்ண எவ்வளவு மணி நேரம் சொல்லியிருக்காங்க? ஸ்டாண்டர்ட் டைம் 2 ஹவர்ஸ் சொல்லியிருக்காங்க. அவர்லி ரேட் ஆஃப் வேஜஸ் கேரண்டி, கட்டாயமா ஒரு மணி நேரத்துக்கு நாங்கள் 2 ரூபாய் கொடுப்பேன்னு சொல்லியிருக்காங்க இல்லையா? அப்போ 2 ஹவர்ஸ் இல்லாமல் ஒரு யூனிட் ப்ரொடியூஸ் பண்ண முடியாது. ஒரு மணி நேரத்துக்கு 2 ரூபாய்னா ஃபார் எவ்ரி யூனிட் இட் இஸ் 4 rupees, right sir? So my dear lovable students, this is a Halsey scheme. As we all know that, what is a Halsey? Basic plus bonus, okay? Here itself I am doing because I have done lot of question. Basic plus bonus. What is basic, man? Actual hours worked into rate per hour. What is actual hours worked? 2000 hours. What is the rate per hour? 2 comes to 4000. Next one, bonus 50%. What is the time saved? 500 hours. 500 into what is the rate per hour? 2. So 1000 rupees would have been saved. I'll 50% yaar eduthupa, employer eduthupa. Remaining 500 will be given to the employee. So 4500 rupees is the labor cost. This 4500 is for actual hours, correct? Not for the standard hours. So you have incurred 4500 for 2000 hours months. That means 2.25 is the effective wage rate under the Halsey. Fine. Sir, if you want per unit cost, labor cost per unit, 4500 divided by 1250 come to 3.6. This is only in the cost sheet, direct material, direct labor. Like that only we will be writing that 3.6 per unit. I hope that you are getting it. Fantastic, sir. Now, what is the savings in terms of direct labor cost per piece? Ninga piece system poirunda, they are saying that for every piece, average in the question, they are saying that for every piece, hourly rate of wages guarantees is 2. Here, let me read it once again. Average time for producing one piece by one worker at the previous performance, this may be taken as time allowed is 2 hours. Fine. Number of working days in the month is 25. Number of working hours per day for each worker is 8. Actual production is 1250 unit. Calculate the effective rate of earnings per hour under Halsey and Rowan. Calculating the savings of Navya in terms of direct labor cost per piece under the above scheme. So, மேல இருக்கிற ஸ்கீம்ல per piece எவ்வளோ saving கேட்குறாங்க. Here, my dear lovable students, sir, labor cost per piece under the time rate scheme is 4 rupees. For example, instead of, sir, piece rate, in order to manufacture 1 unit, 2 hours is required, no. Every hour 2 rupees you are supposed to pay. So 2 into 2 comes to what? 4. But here only 3.6 you are paying as per the Halsey. So you would have saved 40 paise. Getting it? That's it with regard to Halsey. Now coming to Rowan. Rowan scheme basic will be same. Actual hours worked into rate per hour. Actual hours worked is everyone put together 2000 hours. Into rate per hour is, sir, already given in the question, per hour 2. So 2000 into 2 will be 4000. Always the basic wage component both under the Halsey and also under the Rowan are one and the same. Sir, bonus that will surely change, my dear lovable students. Time taken divided by time allowed into time saved into rate per hour. Right, sir? What is the time taken? 2000 hours. But the time allowed is 2500 hours into time saved is 500 hours into rate per hour is 2. So 2000 divided by 2500 into 500 into 2 comes to 800 rupees is a bonus under the Rowan. So my dear lovable students, total wage rate is 4800. 4800 is for how many hours? 4800 divided by, sir, 2000 hours means every hour it is 2.4. For every unit, 4800 divided by 1250 units means for every unit 3.84. But if this owner has paid on a time rate, sir, for 1 unit, every unit will take 2 hours. So 2 hours into 2, 4 rupees we are supposed to pay. But now we are paying only 3.84. That comes to 0.16, my dear lovable students. So what is the advice? We should introduce Phalsa incentive system as it gives more savings than Rowan incentive system. Kattayama. Because what Phalsa is saying that share 50% to the employer and remaining 50% to the employee. Actually, the employee's efficiencies is more. If you look at it, calculator man, 2000 divided by 2500 means actually 80% efficiency is there. In that place, you are paying only 50% sharing with the employee. That means the employee cost will be less. Automatically, the savings to the employer will be more. What a way of analyzing the question. I surely believe that, my dear lovable students, this discussion in labor chapter would have, sir, made a very good revision for you for tomorrow's examination. If that is the case, express your happiness by way of comments, and also, sir, share this with many of your friends that lot of your friends get benefited and like the video. Sir, that shows that you got the good results out of the work. So you know one thing, my dear lovable students, out of our discussion, the preparation for tomorrow's exam, we have done this much. Cost sheet, I hope that you would have completed that. If not, go and, sir, revise that. Cost accounting system, a very important 5-mark area. Process costing, 10-mark area. Joint product by product, 5-mark. Material, 5-mark. And labor also 5-mark. This is a 15-20-mark area for exam. In our next bucket, we are having ABC costing, a very important segment. Then, sir, we are having overhead, very important segment. And the next one is the, sir, unit costing, batch costing, and also the job costing. This area, another 25-mark slot for examination. Still, we are having time, my dear lovable students. Sir, sit and properly revise all the concepts for before tomorrow's examination. If you are feeling this as useful, inform me by way of your comments. That comments really motivates me, and that is a point of happiness. We'll meet with a different video, with a useful different video. Till that, thank you and bye-bye from ANM.